Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Keep Cool Masterclass. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Laura Dawn. I'll just give people a few minutes to hop on. So we are streaming live into Facebook as well as Zoom. Hello, hello. My name is Laura Dawn, and I'm so excited that you're here today with me. Thank you so much. I am the founder of the ADHD Village and the creator and the host of Calming the ADHD Family Summit, which we're still kind of in the summit mode. We just had our last day on Monday, but we're doing a replay this weekend. So if you missed any of those fabulous interviews, you have this weekend to catch up. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so glad that you're joining us. I'm curious, as you participate in this masterclass, are you somebody who likes to sit and absorb and be in the moment, or do you like to take notes? Just let me know in the comments. And if you're a note taker, are you somebody who likes to type your notes, or do you like to do it the old-fashioned way with a pen and paper? Let me know, because it's interesting to see what kind of learning styles we have. So I hear note, old-fashioned note, paper and pen, Margot said. I'll take notes the old-fashioned way. Marty, Raquel takes notes with paper. I love taking notes with paper too. No notes. Becky, you're in the moment kind of person. You like to absorb everything. Tracy, you're the old school note taker. I'm the kind of person who takes notes with a pen and then I transfer it into the computer and type it up afterwards. I get the double. And even though I've been in trainings where I've been told just don't take notes, just stay in the moment, stay in the moment. For me, I feel like I'm learning more if I'm writing at the same time. Alvin, you're the same as me. Notes and then the computer, we want a double whammy. Yeah, and some people, I have a hard time listening and writing. So that's interesting, right? To know what your strengths are and what your style is. For me, I feel like writing helps me to focus and listen. I guess it depends on your brain, and if your brain has ADHD and won't remember if I don't take notes, Margot. Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. I feel like it's really going to help me remember. Rachel, you struggle to take the notes. Sorry, you try to take the notes, but then you struggle trying to read back what you wrote later. I know when you're frantically writing, you should see my notes. I should show you some of them. They're just all over the place. They're just everywhere. Okay, so let us know, where in the world are you coming from? This is also something that totally fascinates me, that, thanks to technology and Facebook and Zoom and all the fabulous technology, we're able to connect from all around the world. Hi, from Texas and Nebraska, Ontario, Florida, IN. Help me out, IN. Oh, Indiana. Thank you. I'm Canadian. I don't know how my states in the short form. Texas, Virginia, Australia. Oh, hi, Mariah. Glad you could make it. I know it's a special day. There's a holiday for you in Australia. Marty, glad you could make it too. Hi, Arya. Becky, you wish you were in Australia. Yeah, we're ready for some warm weather here for sure. Hi, Margot from Indiana. Eve from Ontario. Rachel from Ohio. Hello, I'm so glad you're here. And if you're on Facebook, you can be commenting as well. Let me just pop open the Facebook. Did I just sound old by saying the Facebook? Come to the Keep Cool Master. Okay, yay, Pennsylvania, Long Island. Thank you, Kim and Jennifer and Sherry and Caroline, for joining. This is so exciting. Okay, so I've got my phone and my computer. I've got the two devices going. I think I'm ready to go. so amazing that we're coming from all around the world and we have the same goal in mind. We want our children with ADHD to thrive. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me in this masterclass. Like, thank you so much for wanting to make, the change for your kids and to make things better. So thank you. Thank you. How many of you participated in the Calming the ADHD Family Summit? And if you did, what did you think about it? Just drop a little comment. I'd love to hear from you. Oops. Oh no, I pressed a button. What happened here? Sorry, just bear with me. I just did some, oh, there we go. This is the first time I've ever done a big Zoom meeting with this many people, and the first time I'm streaming Zoom into Facebook. So it's something new and exciting, and lots of ADHD brains really thrive on that new and exciting. Some people get really stressed by the new and exciting. I haven't quite decided which one I am yet. Okay, so yes, have you participated in the summit? I'm just going to read some of the comments in the chat. Maisha, you did and you loved it. Faith, you loved it. Marty, you're still catching up on the sessions. You'll have this weekend to catch up. Unless you have the VIP All Access Pass, then you'll have the whole year to catch up. Tracy, you loved the summit. So much wonderful and useful information. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Rachel, I loved it. I've done a bunch of summits before, but never one specifically geared to neurodiverse families, and you really appreciate that. Oh, thank you for that feedback. Pamela, yes, and you're looking forward to catching up on the replay this weekend. Tanya, you liked all the great information. Eve, you said it was awesome so far, but lots of videos to catch up on. Hi, Diane, so glad you're here. Thank you for saying it was an amazing summit, so much information. And Elaine, yes, loads of great information. Karen, you bought the VIP pass. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. And that means you have a whole year, so you can watch those videos again and again. On Facebook, Sherry said it was amazing and thank you so much. TL said it was fabulous. Kim, you learned so much. So thank you so much for that feedback. And I have to say, honestly, like the best part of doing the summit, well, there's lots of best parts actually. I'm learning. I'm a lifelong learner. So while I'm doing the summit and interviewing all these experts, I'm learning from them. And as a teacher, I know that when I teach others, I'm also learning. So I love the learning part for me because it also helps me and my family. I love making the connections with all the people in the summit. So you, thank you, the participants of the summit and the speakers in the summit. So that connection piece is so important. But really, like, just reading one comment from one person that says that they've tried a strategy that they've learned in the summit and it's made a difference in their family, like that is everything. I'm a mom of kids with ADHD. I'm a teacher, and I know how hard the struggle is for kids and for families. And our kids with ADHD, by the time they're 12 years old, receive 10,000 more negative comments and feedback than their neurotypical peers. 10,000. So not only are these kids dealing with a neurodiverse brain in a neurotypical world and all the struggles that come with that, on top of that, they're getting all this negative feedback. And if you watched Brendan Mahan's interview, that negative feedback builds into that wall of awful that they have. So they feel like they're disappointing people and letting people down, and they have poor self-esteem and they feel bad about themselves, and they're getting all this negative feedback. So my heart goes out to these kids, and my heart goes out to the families and the teachers who are supporting these kids. And if this summit can reach some of those children and make their life easier because the parents and the teachers have some strategies that are helping, then that makes all of this work absolutely 100% worth it. And I am so deeply grateful to the teachers and the coaches in my village who have made life better for my children. So it's all about being part of a village and supporting each other, helping each other. It's about the kids, right? These kids are our future. And we're so privileged and honored to be able to raise these kids. Kids with ADHD these are the out of the box thinkers. They're brave, they're risk takers, they're curious, they're creative, they're leaders, they're going to be entrepreneurs, they're going to be, entertainers and leaders and all these fabulous things. And we get to raise them. So what a privilege and an honor. And thank you for having me as a part of your village. I'm very thankful to the speakers in the summit. They all generously donated their time for the interview, their time to spread the message, and their generous gifts. And speaking of their gifts, when you get access to the replay this weekend, even if you can't watch all the interviews, because I know life is busy, but click on all the free links and download all the freebies, because I don't know how long those freebies will be available. So you want to grab them while you can. Okay, so I'd like to share the plans for tonight. So we're going to be looking at some strategies to help you keep your cool. We're going to be discussing how to recognize your triggers and learning how to tame them. And we're going to learn how some simple shifts in our perspective can improve our kids' behavior. So a shift in our perspective can change their behavior. And then we will do some visualization of what we want for our families, what we want our family life to look like. And at the very end, I will be sharing with you about the ADHD Warrior Mama program. So that will be at the very end. If that's something you're interested in, you're going to want to stay tuned until the very end. Now, during the summit, we learned about the reticular activating system. And this is like the bodyguard of the brain. It decides what is important and what it's going to let into our brain. Because if you think about it, we're exposed to so much stimulus constantly. Our brains can't possibly let everything in. So our reticular activating system decides what it lets in. So before I start a meeting or a training, I like to set my reticular activating system. I like to set my intentions to prime my brain for learning. So would you like to prime your brain for learning during this masterclass? If you would like to, just type in a yes, and I'm just going to quickly check the chat. Oh, yay. Faith said that you've used some strategies today. Oops, and that popped away. It helped me ask for forgiveness for getting upset with her last night. Oh, she made supper for me tonight. Oh, how lovely, Faith. Yes. And that's the beauty, right? You can always go back and repair, going back and repairing. And it's a beautiful thing because you're teaching your kids that we're humans, we have emotions, we make mistakes, maybe we handle things that in a way that we don't always want to, but we can go back and repair. And that repair really builds your connection. So lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Faith. Okay, so let's set our intentions. Let's get our brain primed for learning. So before I go into a meeting or some sort of class, I tell myself that I'm planning to learn 3 new things. And that at the end of the meeting or the class or whatever it is, that I'm going to have one actionable step. So there's going to be one thing that I'm going to plan to put into action after the meeting. So what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and visualize this intention. And while you're visualizing, you can close your eyes. You can put a hand over your heart. Or if you're into tapping, which I really am, I'm into the rapid relief technique created by Sarah Longoria. So I like to tap on this. And this is something we do a lot of in the ADHD Warrior Mama program. So on the right, that's like our releasing side, and the left is like our anchoring inside. So I would tap on the left. And for something like this, I wouldn't necessarily tap through all the points. I would just pick this one point here, which is like the little tender spot right underneath your bone. So if you kind of go to that middle little space, go down 2 fingers and across, you can feel like there's an indent and it's probably a little bit tender on you. So that spot, all the meridian lines, can you see that? All the meridian lines cross through there. So when I'm having some emotions and I want to tap and I'm in public and I don't want to be doing the whole tapping all over my face and everywhere and draw a lot of attention, I just tap right here. And that gets all the points. So as I'm tapping, I'm telling myself, I'm going to learn 3 new things. And at the end of this masterclass, I will have 1 actionable step, 1 thing that I will put in motion. And just take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. And another deep breath in. Let it out slowly. So we've just told our reticular activating system what to look for. It's now on the lookout for learning 3 new things and getting a plan in place for the end where there's 1 action that we can take. So, and there actually truly is science behind this. I know it looks kind of hokey, but there is science behind it. You might also want to write that out. You might want to write, I'm going to learn 3 new things, and I will have 1 actionable step. And when you put things in writing, what we learned from Sean McCormick's interview, and Sean McCormick, who I want to say something about him too. Can you tell I have ADHD, by the way? Okay, anyway, Sean McCormick's interview was on executive functioning skills, and his company is called Executive Functioning Specialists. And in his interview, he shared that when you write down your goals, you are 42% more likely to accomplish them. So for those of you who are taking notes, if you write down, I will learn 3 new things, I will have 1 actionable step at the end of this class, it's 42% more likely to actually happen if you put that in writing. So go ahead and write it down. Sean McCormick, starting on Tuesday, will be joining us in the ADHD Village. I can't remember the time off the top of my head. I think it's 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But he's going to be coming in every Tuesday for 4 weeks to teach some techniques. So we're calling it Techie Tuesdays. So be sure to tune in. I'll put a post in the group so that you have all the details in there. But for the next 4 weeks, Sean will be teaching us some tech tools to help with executive functioning skills, yours and your kids. Okay, so by now our brains should be primed and ready. And I'd like to start off with gratitude. So I am so thankful to all of you for being a part of this masterclass. I'm so thankful that you watched the summit. I'm so thankful that you've chosen to share this space with me. I'm thankful that you're a part of the ADHD Village and that you've chosen me to be in your village. I'm so thankful to the speakers who donated their time and their gifts. There's so much kindness. I love the ADHD Village. It seems to have just over the last few weeks just taken a life of its own. I can see the support in the group, and I love the high vibe energy in the group. It's positive, it's supportive. There's people answering each other's questions. I love it. So thank you so much for being a part of the ADHD Village. So I'd like you to take a moment now and think about something that you are grateful for. And sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, busy life, managing a job and family and kids with ADHD, it can sometimes feel hard to think of something that you're thankful for. So if you're feeling like in that overwhelmed place right now where it's hard to think of something, just start with the very basics. I can take a deep breath. I'm thankful that I can take a deep breath. I'm thankful I have clean air to breathe. Think about when you woke up this morning. Did you wake up in a comfy, cozy bed? When you got out of bed, were you able to put your feet on the ground? Were your feet touching the floor in your own house? Did you have clean water to drink? So if you could, in the comments, just type in something that you are thankful for. And I want you to, after you've typed it in, really feel into that gratitude. So while you're feeling into that gratitude, you can give your heart a high five, connect with your heart and feel the gratitude in your heart. Or if you want to tap on it and just feel into that moment, really think about what you're grateful for. And when you feel the gratitude, your brain releases feel-good neurotransmitters, which boosts up your mood, and it even improves sleep and it improves focus. So you can see how gratitude is really helpful for kids with ADHD, right? When these feel-good neurotransmitters are released, it is physically impossible for your body to release the stress hormone cortisol at the same time. So by feeling into gratitude, you are blocking stress, literally blocking stress. So you can see how gratitude is a nice way to put your kids to bed at night. My kids have gratitude journals. We don't do it every night, I will admit, but I will tell them at bedtime, like something that I'm so grateful for, and I'll try to get the conversation going. What are you thankful for? And sometimes we journal about it. Sometimes we talk about it. But going to sleep with gratitude is so nice because it does increase those positive neurotransmitters and it blocks cortisol. And sometimes at the end of the day, when you're trying to settle for bed, sometimes our cortisol increases because that's a time when our brains are starting to worry about maybe things in the day or anticipating things for the next day, or it can be stressful for some kids at bedtime. So feeling into gratitude is a nice routine for bedtime. And I'm just going to hop on quickly and read the chat here and let's see what you are thankful for. Debbie, I'm thankful I was able to be at my job for 12 years and how I get to help others every day. Oh, Debbie, that is so sweet. And I love that idea of getting to go to your job. My son, last week, he said to me, do you have to go to work today? And I think he was hoping that if I said, oh, no, I don't have to go, then he could stay home from school too. But I said, well, no, I don't have to go. I get to go to work. Maisha, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to continue learning so that I can help my child and improve my understanding of ADHD. Oh, so lovely. Faith, you're thankful that my child understands that we both have ADHD and that we are trying to support each other. Oh, that's beautiful. Arichalia, oops, it popped away. Oh. Oh, Margot, I'm grateful for you, Laura Dawn. Thank you, Margot. Marty, I'm thankful for finding this village. Yay, I love the village too. Eve, thankful for peace. Oh, yes. Like if you're living in a country of peace right now, how lucky are we? Also thankful for mental health conversations with my with your students today. Lovely. Oh, there it is. Araceli. Am I saying that right? Araceli, I'm so grateful for this resource and community. Yes, I love this community too. Mariah, I'm thankful for my strong body and mind, my beautiful home that is my sanctuary, my gorgeous kids who teach me so much about myself as a person. Yes, our kids, even when they're pushing our buttons and triggering us, like that's actually a gift because that's an opportunity for us to really learn about ourselves. If my kids didn't have ADHD, I think I would just be living subconsciously and not as consciously as I am now. So yes, so thankful for our kids. They are teaching us to shift the parenting paradigm. Okay, so gratitude. So we're only like, what, 10, 15 minutes? Oh no, 25 minutes. 25 minutes in, but we've already learned the benefits of gratitude and how to prime our brains for learning. So there's already 2 things that you've learned. So the name of this class is Keep Cool. So we know that when your family has ADHD, emotions can get very heated. And I say your family because it doesn't matter if there's only one person in the family with ADHD or more. When one person has it, really the whole family has it because it impacts the whole family. And even though emotions are not in the DSM-5 criteria for ADHD, we all know that emotions are hugely impacted by ADHD. So a first step in cooling down the whole family is becoming aware and recognizing our feelings, um, and recognizing, how your feelings feel in your body. Does anyone know what the most dangerous emotion is? You know what the most dangerous emotion is? Type it in. I'm just going to open up the chat. Hi, Jenny. Glad you're here. Faith, fear. Yep. Anger. I'm just checking Facebook to see if anyone's sharing on there. Oh, hi, Terry. Glad you're watching. Apathy. Eve, none. None. You're getting close, actually, with that one. Yes, Tracy. Ding, ding, ding. You've got it. Suppressed. Loneliness. Yeah. So the only dangerous emotion really is a suppressed emotion. So as humans, we are meant to feel all the feelings. Feeling feelings is part of being a human. And that means the comfortable feelings and the uncomfortable feelings, all of them. But what happens is we don't like to feel the uncomfortable feelings. Like nobody likes to feel sadness, loneliness, anger, fear. We don't like those ones. But emotions are energy in motion. They're just vibrations in your body. So if you think of it that way, it's just it's energy in motion. They're just vibrations, and there's nothing to be afraid of. But what we often do is we don't want to feel them. They're uncomfortable, so we push them down. We suppress them. And if you keep pushing them down and pushing them down, they get stuck in your body. And eventually, they explode. We don't want to be suppressing our feelings. We want to feel them. Jenny said all emotions are equally important. Yeah. Even the uncomfortable ones. I've got a beautiful chart, but it's not within reach, but it has all the feelings on it. And it shows like there's high energy feelings, low energy feelings, and there's feelings that are pleasant and unpleasant. And they're all equally important. So notice your feelings. Where do you feel them? In your chest, in your head, in your stomach? And what does it feel like when you're feeling those feelings? Is it sharp? Is it prickly? Is it tingly? Is it wavy? Is it spinny? Is it hot? Just notice, really notice it. And you've heard throughout the summit, name it to tame it. So just giving that emotion a name helps. So in this moment, I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling annoyed or disappointed. Give it a name and sit with your emotion. Same with our kids. If you can do this for your children, this is the best thing for their emotional development, is to be present with them during their emotions. So picture your child upset and crying. So picture it right now. And my son was a little bit upset with me after school today. So picture the last time your child was upset or crying. And maybe they weren't invited to a play date, or maybe the picture they were working on was ripped, or they lost at a game. So picture your child. What does your instinct tell you to do? I know what my instinct tells me. Let me just read the messages in chat if anyone's typed anything. What does your instinct tell you to do when your child is sad? You usually want to comfort them, right? You want to take that sadness, you want to take that pain away. You want to make them feel better. So you might want to explain rationally to them why the situation happened that happened, why they didn't get invited to that play date. Give them some logical explanation. Maybe you want to offer them a distraction to take their mind off of it, or tell them about something exciting they can think about to distract them. And we do this because, of course, we love our kids. We want our kids to be happy, but really it's because we feel uncomfortable when our kids are uncomfortable, right? It's us feeling uncomfortable, so we want to fix it. And so recognizing this was really huge for me. I always wanted my kids to be happy, or at the very least, like be calm or content. I didn't want them to hurt, like ever. Who wants their kids to hurt? Um, but this is something like to dig into. So when your child is upset, like that might really be a trigger for you. So get curious about why is that so upsetting to you when your child is upset? Um, so now when my kids have uncomfortable emotions, I remind myself that it's okay. It's okay. They can be mad and yelling and screaming and punching things or throwing things, not punching people, but we've got a punching bag. So they can be doing all those things. And I just remind myself, it's okay. Part of being human is feeling all the emotions. Emotions are just vibrations in our body. So we don't need to be afraid of them. And this is an opportunity. And I tell myself this because I still feel uncomfortable with my kids being uncomfortable, but I tell myself, this is an opportunity for them to build resilience, right? We want them to practice with the little hurts so that they can handle the bigger hurts. Like it would be so abnormal to just be happy all the time. Keep your kids happy in their safe little bubble in your house. And then you send them to school and, somebody knocks over their sandcastle in the sandbox and it's catastrophic. So we want them to experience the little hurts. So what if you are just present with them? You sit with them in their emotions. And you let your facial expression and your voice mirror what they are feeling. Help them label their feelings, empathize with them, listen deeply. All of this without trying to fix anything, without trying to distract them. Just sit with them in their feelings. In my kindergarten class, this works like a charm. I feel very entertained by how well it works. So when kids come to me with a problem, so maybe someone took their toy or knocked over their sandcastle, whatever their problem is, I listen and I validate their feelings. And my students are really good at labeling their feelings. We spend a lot of time on this. We talk about feelings when we're reading stories. So we'll stop and we'll look at the facial expressions on the characters or their body language or their actions, and we'll talk about how they're feeling. And I've got all sorts of like emotion cards and stuff that we play games with. And so they are very knowledgeable on how to label their feelings. So they'll often come to me and they'll say, I'm feeling sad. And then they'll tell me what happened. So I listen. And then I recap what they told me. And I'll ask them, so what did your brain tell you about that made you feel sad or that made you feel mad?
No.
So I want them to know that they are in control of their feelings. No one can make them feel their feelings. So if they come to me and say, well, so-and-so made me feel sad because so-and-so took my toy. So I want them to think about like what's going on in their brain. And they're getting better at this. Like well, my brain said that she doesn't like me anymore. Or she doesn't want to be my friend. Or so we talk about it. Like, what is your brain telling you? Because I want them to learn from a young age so that they're not adults having to go back and go to therapy and work all this stuff out as adults. I want them to learn right now in real time that situations that happen are neutral. And we have thoughts about those situations, and the thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings guide our actions. And that can be scientifically proven on brain scans. So it feels like something happens and we immediately have a feeling, but a fraction of a second before that feeling is a thought in our mind. The thought comes before the feeling. So that's why I'm trying to get my kids to recognize what they're thinking that causes the feeling. Now they're little and this is a big concept, but we're practicing it. Anyway, so today I'll tell you a story. Today a child was playing with cars. So there was a few kids playing on the floor, and one child was playing with a car, and the other child had used these magnet tiles, those really cool magnet tiles, and he built a rocket ship. So the boy that was playing with the police car smashed the police car into the rocket ship made out of magnet tiles, and it fell apart. So the child who had built the magnetile rocket ship came to me and he was very upset. And he said, I'm so sad. He broke my rocket ship. So I took the time to really to connect with him. And if you watch Jennifer Coleri's her presentation, it's similar to, it's the calm technique, really. So you're listening attentively and validating. So I said to him, oh no, you made the most incredible rocket ship with the magnetiles, and you were so proud of the hexagon shapes that you used. And it was even bigger than the one that you built yesterday. You worked so hard on your rocket. Now it's destroyed. No wonder you're feeling so sad. And I can see that you're sad because your lips are turned down, your head is turned down. You've got some tears in your eye. I really see that you're sad. So all I did is I verbalized what he was probably thinking and feeling. And by doing that, I was connecting with him. I was validating that his feelings were real. Now, if you kind of think about some of the old school thinking, I might have said to him, you can build it again. It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to cry. It's not a big deal. You can build it again. And by doing that, I'm telling him that what he's feeling isn't important. I'm telling him to ignore his feelings. I'm telling him to ignore that his lips are turned down and his head is turned down and he's got tears in his eyes. I'm saying, no, 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 no. Don't pay attention to your body. Everything's okay. Let's just build it again. So by taking that time to connect and validate their feelings, you're building their emotional intelligence. And when I do this with the kids, I watch them calm down right away. I don't offer to fix anything for them. So, kids will come to you with the problems and they want the grown-up to fix the problem. I don't offer to fix the problem. I listen to them. We talk about their feelings. We talk about their thoughts. I validate. And often that's enough right there. Just doing that. I call it love. So the L stands for listening deeply. The O is oxytocin. So when you're connecting and you're listening deeply, the kids are releasing oxytocin into their bodies. And when oxytocin is released, cortisol is blocked. So that helps to get them out of that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So often when they're sad or angry, when their emotions are big, they're in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. They're in their caveman brain. But by listening and connecting, you're releasing oxytocin. It blocks the cortisol. It helps them get back into their thinking brain. So the V in love is validate and the E is emotions. So we talk about emotions and build emotional intelligence. And then after we have that talk for a while, I sometimes ask them, do you want to keep feeling sad for a while? Or would you like to have another feeling? And sometimes they'll tell me they want to keep feeling sad. And I'll say, okay, so when you're feeling sad, what are some things that you can do? And we've talked about this ahead of time. It's not like we're doing it in the moment for the first time. So they know, because we have these conversations when they're calm, things that you can do when you're sad. You can draw a picture. You can sit on a beanbag chair. You can get a drink of water. You can ask for a hug. You can do deep breaths or whatever. So if I say to them, do you want to keep feeling sad? And they say, yes, I'm respecting how they're feeling. They're not ready to change out of that emotional state yet. And what can you do when you're sad? And they pick something that they can do, or maybe they just want to sit beside me, or maybe they just want to sit and do nothing, or maybe they want to cry, and that's okay. Are you ready for another feeling? Often they'll say yes, because they don't like the feeling of sad. It's uncomfortable. They don't want to stay in that sad feeling. So, okay, what can you do if you're ready to not be sad anymore? And so sometimes then they say how they want the problem to be fixed. So, oh yeah, I won't be sad anymore if so-and-so gives me the toy back or whatever. So then we work on, well, it's your thinking. So what thought can you have What kind of feeling do you want to have right now? Oh, I want to feel happy. Okay. If you were feeling happy, what thoughts would you have that would make you feel happy? And we work on that. So in that situation from today, it was so interesting because as I was having this talk about feelings with the boy who was sad, um, he was starting to feel better. And then another friend came over and he said, I can help you rebuild your rocket. And he smiled and skipped away with the friend, and they rebuilt the rocket. So I didn't need to do anything to fix anything. I just validated his feelings, and a friend came along and they just took care of things. Now, the child who did the destroying, he was close by listening to the conversation, and I made sure that he was close by. So he's getting the benefit of all of this talking as well. And he can hear that I'm validating this child's feelings. And then often kids are kind of, they know they've done something wrong, and now they're waiting to get in trouble. Okay, I've done something bad. I broke my friend's rocket ship. I'm going to get a consequence, or I'm going to get a lecture. I'm going to be told I did something wrong. I don't do that, because these are little kids. Their brains are not fully developed. It's ridiculous for us to expect these kids to be behaving perfectly all the time. It takes 25 years for your prefrontal cortex to fully develop. And that's the part of your brain responsible for executive functioning, for problem solving, all those things, making decisions. And behavior is communication. So I don't want to get in there and consequence the behavior. I want to know what's going on underneath the behavior, what caused that to happen. So I just said to him, tell me what happened, because I want him to know that his perspective is equally as important as the child who was crying and upset. And often we give all of our attention to the child who's crying and upset. And then we get angry at the child who caused that child to be crying and upset. And I noticed what I just said there, caused them to cry. But really, another human isn't responsible for your feelings. You're responsible for your own, but you know what I mean. So picture it if you have your own kids, if you have more than one, the sibling fights, like this was my life for many, 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 many years. One kid would do something to hurt or upset the other kid, and I'd be so triggered by that. I'd be yelling at the kid that did the hurting, right? But both of their perspectives are equally as important. So anyway, this child who destroyed the rocket ship made out of magnetiles, I said to him, tell me what happened. And I'm going to give him that same love technique. I'm going to listen deeply and connect with him so he can get the benefit of oxytocin flowing and feel connected and bonded. And he's probably very heightened, anticipating that he's going to get in trouble. So he might be getting into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So I want to bring that down for him. I want to validate his feelings and his emotions too. So I listened to what he had to say. And he said he thought it was really fun for the police car to smash into things. So he said he was smashing it into other cars and smashing it into blocks, and then he smashed it into the rocket ship. He thought it was really fun. And I said, oh, do you think it's fun, like to play smashing games? And he didn't know how to answer. Again, you could just see that he was like afraid to say yes, because what happens if I say yes? Am I going to get in trouble for that? So he just kind of looked at me, and I said, well, I know the Hulk likes to smash things. And then he felt comfortable enough to say, yeah, I like smashing things too. Okay. So once he was feeling comfortable and calm and he knew he wasn't getting in trouble, then we were able to have the conversation of, do you think smashing the magnetile rocket ship was fun for your friend? No. He was able to clearly see, no, it wasn't. How do you know it wasn't fun for your friend? Well, he was crying and he worked hard. He was able to say this. He worked hard on it and I broke it. Yeah. So what do you think you can do to repair the situation? And then he said, I can go help him fix it. And I said, wow, what a great idea. That is so kind of you. You are such a good friend. And I can see that you really care about your friend's feelings. Thank you so much for doing that. And then off he went to help his friend. So we talked about the nurtured heart approach if you watched Lillian Reeke's interview. And throughout the summit too, we've been talking about how where your focus goes, the energy flows. So I could have spent that conversation focusing on, it's not nice to break other people's things. You know, how would you like it if somebody broke your thing and all that stuff? And I could put all my energy on the thing he did wrong. But instead, I validated him. And then I put all the energy on how he did the repair work after. And I reinforced what a kind friend he was by going to help and fix it. So that he's going to go away now thinking, oh, kind friends are helpful and all that kind of stuff, rather than shaming him, blaming him, making him feel bad. Not that I can make him, but you know what I mean. So in the end, he did the behavior that I wanted him to do, which was to go and help the friend do the repair, but I didn't have to tell him anything. He came up with it on his own. It was his own idea, which makes it exponentially more meaningful to him. Yeah, so that just happened to happen today. And I thought that's a perfect story. So when we use this love technique, we are nurturing our children's nervous systems. When we do this, when we listen deeply, we validate their feelings, our children feel understood. And when they are understood, they don't need to act out. So this beautiful release of oxytocin helps to settle their stress. And they don't need to escalate their behaviors. Sometimes, you know, they're going to escalate their behaviors because they want to prove to us their point of view. And once we understand their point of view and they know that we understand it, they don't need to keep fighting. And we want to allow our kids to feel their feelings. And we want to feel our feelings too. So the same goes for you. When you're feeling your emotions, sit with it. Get curious. So, you know, something happened and I got really mad. I wonder why. I wonder why I got so mad when da 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 da. And give yourself compassion for feeling mad, because you're human, you have feelings. It's okay to feel your feelings. In the moments when things get heated, you know, maybe your kids are arguing with each other, they're yelling, name calling. Notice how you feel and notice what your triggers are and why you have those triggers. So I'd love for you in the comments, and I'm just going to open up the comment screen, but I'd love for you to share if you know what your triggers are, write them in the comments. Maybe it's your child swearing or swearing at you, or the siblings fighting together, hurting each other, maybe talking back, not listening, being disrespectful. Pamela, the E is for emotions. So that's the emotional intelligence. That's also the empathizing. Okay, Debbie, when my son is disrespectful to others, that's triggering. Clutter around the house. Yep. Feeling ignored, arguing with each other, disrespectful behavior. When my son tells me I'm a bad parent to him, Raquel, that gets you right in the heart, right? They know how to push those buttons. So interesting story about that, Raquel. And I'm not saying this for like no judgment or anything, but if your son said to you, Mom, I don't like your pink hair. You have horrible pink hair. That would probably bounce right off of you, because your reticular activating system is not set to take in comments about your pink hair, because you don't have pink hair. Well, I haven't seen you, but I'm assuming you don't have pink hair. But if you have your own feelings about being a bad parent, or if you've been judging yourself, feeling bad about, mistakes you've made, so you're setting your reticular activating, and it's normal. We all do this, but that sets your reticular activating system to start looking for evidence to prove that thought true. So when your son says, or your daughter, I didn't see that, you're a bad parent, then your brain's going, oh, yes, I am a bad parent. See, there's proof of it. And it really triggers you. So something just to be mindful of. The things that trigger us are often thoughts that we've already had. And that's why it hurts. Repeating things over and over. Chaos is a trigger, like the visual clutter. Oh, I know. Audio chaos. Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Lots of noise can be really overstimulating, especially if you have ADHD. Disrespectful. Oh, Jenny, you said for mine, disrespectful can be her just speaking the truth. Yes, and that's something with ADHD, right? These kids are often very honest because they don't have that filter. And some people may perceive that as disrespectful, whereas some people might see it as just being honest. So interesting. Talking back. And let me just hop onto Facebook and see if anyone's commenting. Oh. Name calling, Karen said. Stephanie said talking back, not answering me. Oh my goodness. Like, can you hear me? Are you choosing not to listen? Or is what I'm saying so boring that you're just not responding? Yeah. So the not listening, clutter. Nancy said, my son not listening and not trying on homework. Yep. Terry feeling I'm not doing the right thing. So yeah, being really hard on yourself for not doing the right thing. Karen, loudness. Yeah, so the sound. Lillian, even in challenging times, we can recognize children for their greatness. Yes, Lillian. Okay, lying. Okay, so good. You know what your triggers are. This is good. So recognizing those triggers is a really good first step, knowing what triggers you, because then you can put a plan in place. So if I know that I get triggered when my son says whatever it is he says, a bad word or whatever it is, if I know that that triggers me, I can make a plan in advance. So the next time my son says this word that triggers me, this is how I'm going to respond. And I can practice it in my mind and have a plan in place. So that's going to kind of prevent me from getting triggered because I've got a plan on how to respond rather than react. And my response may simply be walking out of the room or ignoring rather than getting frustrated and yelling or whatever. So just knowing what your trigger is and putting that plan in place can really help. So when you're feeling yourself getting stressed and triggered, you are also going into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. That is not the place you want to parent from, because when you are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, that's your caveman brain. And there's no logical, rational thinking in your caveman brain. Your caveman brain is like your subconscious. It's your feelings. It's when your emotions are high, your intelligence is low. You don't want to be parenting from low intelligence, and you don't want your emotions to be running the show. Your emotions should not be doing the parenting. So that's not where you want to parent from. And I love reminding myself when emotions are high, intelligence is low. So noticing your trigger can help with that. So I used to be really triggered when my son swore. He would swear, and then I would feel disappointed. So he swore, I felt disappointed. So the swearing is a thing that happens. That's a circumstance. That's what's happening in the world around me. That's the swearing. And then my feeling was disappointment. But I know the thought comes before the feeling. So think of, I'm going to swear here, what the fuck? WTF? What is what's happening in the world? T is thought, F is feeling. So before that feeling of disappointment was a thought. So my thought might have been, oh, people are going to think he's a bad kid if he swears. So then I got curious and I asked myself, why does it bother me that he swears? Like, they're just words, right? And, admit it. If you swear, say, admit it. Say, yes, I swear, or yes, that's me. Put it in the chat. Like, let's admit it. Okay, so probably he learned those swear words from me. Yeah, we all do. They're words, right? So what meaning are we giving to these words? So I was getting curious about that. Anyway, so I was asking myself, like, why does it bother me? So when I thought about it, I thought, well, maybe it will mean like it's going to bother his friends. Then he won't have any friends. Or what if he swears at the wrong person and they punch him? Or, yeah, they could punch him and he could punch them back and there could be a big fight. Or what if he swears at a teacher and gets suspended from school? So all these worries that I'm projecting, like all these worries, all these negative thoughts that he might have no friends, he might get hurt, he might get suspended. And when I'm thinking about all those, why do those things bother me? Why does it bother me that my son might get hurt or have no friends or get suspended from school? Because if that happens to my son, then that means I'm not doing a good job teaching him. And if I'm not doing a good job teaching him, that means I'm not a good enough mom. I'm not good enough. So when I hear him swear, and this is all happening in the subconscious brain, when I hear that swear, my subconscious brain is saying, you're not a good enough mom. You're not good enough. So that getting triggered by the swear, like think of a tree. And those little triggers are like the leaves on the tree. And then you ask yourself and get curious, and it goes down to the twigs and the branches. So that was like, oh, people might think he's a bad kid. And then you go down the tree and, oh, he might not have friends. He might get suspended. And then you get to the trunk and, oh, that means that I wasn't doing a good job teaching him. And you get down to the root of the problem. The root is I'm not good enough. So I hear the swearing, I get triggered and right to the root. I'm not good enough. So this is a lot of the work that we do in the ADHD Warrior Mama program, is really looking at our thinking and understanding how our thoughts create our feelings, which drives our actions. So you can see how having those thoughts and feelings, and when I'm then feeling disappointed, and you can imagine that my actions might be I'm snapping at him or yelling at him or lecturing him not to swear, all those kinds of things. Whereas I could have a different perspective and handle things differently. So just being aware right now, just being aware of what triggers you is empowering. And if you want to really get into this deep, then the ADHD Warrior Mama program is for you, because we work on rewiring your brain. So anyway, I'll keep going. So, yeah, so when I'm feeling that disappointment in my son, then I might just be addressing the swearing, snapping, yelling at him, and I'm not looking at the behavior underneath. And we want to be calm and curious and compassionate and look at what's causing that behavior. So even though I know in my rational thinking brain not to yell at my kid, if I'm triggered by that swearing, I might yell at him in that moment because I'm limbically charged. I'm charged by my feelings. I'm in that caveman brain. So even though I logically know not to yell, my subconscious wiring and emotions will always win. So this is why it's so important to work with a coach, to work on your thoughts and feelings, to put you in the best position for parenting your kids. And actually, let's talk about a situation that just happened at the Oscars. Will Smith, something happened, somebody said something. He had a thought, probably, how dare he say that? That's so mean, that's so insensitive, which caused the feeling of anger. And that drove the action of smacking. now Will Smith, like he's somebody who's like, he's amazing, right? Like, and so insightful. And he's an adult with a fully developed brain. And he was triggered and acted out this way. So just thinking about that situation gives me some compassion for our kids who don't have fully developed brains, who don't understand all of this. Yes, he's a human being. We all make mistakes. We all feel our feelings. He was triggered, obviously, right? He had a big trigger and he reacted to it. And it took him by surprise, right? With your kids' behaviors, like these are your kids. So maybe the first time it's going to take you by surprise, but after that first time, you should be able to have a plan in place and not be surprised the next time. So yeah, notice what your kids are doing and what triggers you, and then you can set a plan in place. When you are triggered, so put yourself in that situation now where you're thinking about something that's triggered you, and we just had that whole list of things, you know, your kids are back talking, or they're not listening, or they're not trying on their homework. When you're triggered, how do you feel? What does it feel like in your body? Is your face hot? Mine gets hot. Do you feel a charge of energy that like needs to get out, either by a yell or a hit or a run, or like you need to get it out? Do you feel like your fists clenching up? Do you feel like your shoulders raising up and tensing? So just notice, what does that triggered energy feel like? Is it prickly? Is it stingy? What do you notice in your body? Tension all over. Marty just wrote, Debbie, the energy runs through my body and then tears in my eyes. Yes. So recognize it. I fall inside like off a cliff. Yeah. So this is something that can help. So when you're feeling all those feelings that you just described, your body is going into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So you're going into caveman brain. Your brain doesn't know the difference between the danger of a tiger chasing you from the caveman days or your teenager rolling their eyes at you. Your brain is perceiving it as danger and putting you into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So something that really helps me in those moments is I just stop and I ask myself, am I safe? And I make myself look around. So I could be feeling all the feelings and triggered and feel all hot and frustrated, but I stop and I say, am I safe? Yes, I am sitting in my chair. There is no tigers chasing me. I'm not about to fall off a cliff or get hit by a car. I am safe. I am okay. I can put my hand up over my heart, like give your heart a high five and say, I am safe. I am okay. And we talked in Akua Walker's interview about the importance of touch as a way to calm you. Also, it was Andy DeLuca talked about that in her interview as well, that touch is a really good way to bring you back into the moment. So when you're in that fight, flight, or freeze, your brain is, you know, spinning out of control and you're stressing, just come back into the moment, put your hand over your heart. I'm okay. I'm safe. Or tap on that point right in there. I am okay. I am safe. I am okay. I am safe. Your kids are fighting. They're throwing things. They're cursing at each other. They're doing the thing, whatever it is that triggers you. I am safe. I am okay. You want to be able to regulate yourself so you can co-regulate them. So look around yourself, tell yourself you're safe. Deep breathing is also something that can really help. Take 3 deep breaths. And when you do the deep breathing, like in your belly, and you can feel your belly really moving in and out, when your belly is really moving in and out from the deep breathing, it massages your vagus nerve. And that's like the highway that runs from your gut to your brain, the vagus nerve. And that's the nerve that also can help you to relax. So let's do this now, because I honestly, my energy is like this, just talking about fight, flight, or freeze. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 8. And we'll do it 3 times. I'm sure everyone's had a busy day and would benefit from this calming breath. So in for 4, hold, out. In, hold, out. In, hold, out. If you want to learn more about the mindful breathing on the replay this weekend, you could watch Aaron Huey, Dr. Al, and Andrea Baker. They all talk about mindful breathing. Recent research from Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons indicates that rhythmic, paced breathing balances the I always say this wrong, autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system has 2 components, a stress response and a recharge response. And these 2 responses are not balanced in the ADHD brain. And that contributes to impulsivity, hyperactivity, and stress. So deep breathing exercises can balance the autonomic nervous system. This allows the individual to be more attentive and relaxed. This can also improve sleep. Anything that improves sleep is amazing in my book, and also helps with focus. So practicing deep breathing with your child, I think Akua Walker talked about turning it into a game or doing it at bedtime. There's lots of benefits. Self-care, I'm watching the time and trying to be mindful, so I'm not going to go into this too much, but if you watch Carrie Sutton's interview, her whole interview is about self-care, and a lot of the speakers talk about it. If you think about it, if you are exhausted and burnt out, you're not able to parent at your best. And I think Aaron worded it that when you are at your best, how do you say it? When you are at your worst, your best at your worst, best is worse than your worst at your best. Are you following what I'm saying? So when you're your best self, when you're your best self and you've taken really good care of yourself and you're in a good place, your worst parenting when you're in your best place is way better than your best parenting when you're in the worst place. So self-care really, truly is going to help you be at your best self so that you are able to regulate yourself so you can co-regulate your kids. And in her interview, Alma Galvin talks about the highest energy wins. And you want to have that highest energy of calm so that your kids can match that energy rather than you getting triggered and then triggering them to match that. And then you get more triggered, they get more triggered. And just curious, what do you do for self-care? If you can type that in the comments, I would love to know. What do you do for self-care? Dr. L talked about physical self-care for your brain, which includes hydration, nutrition, rest, oxygen and breathing, and exercise. Alvin said, meditate, sleep, swim. Maisha, moving my body, meditating, drinking water, getting sunlight. Oh yes, if you can get sunlight in the morning, that helps with your sleep at night. Journaling. Let me check Facebook and see what the comments are there. Allowing myself to zone out. Yes. Cooking and baking. Love that that can be therapeutic. Okay. Walking outdoors. Yes, there's so many benefits of being outside in nature and exercising in nature. And when you're exercising, you're getting that oxygen, right? Taking time for summits. Thank you, Maisha. I'm glad that helps you. Yeah, so practicing your self-care is really vital so that you can be at your best for your kids and so you can keep your cool by doing these preventative things, self-care, practicing mindful breathing, putting your hand over your heart, tapping. And tapping truly, the rapid relief technique of tapping, which was created by Sarah Longoria, that is like the quickest, most efficient way to process your emotions. And we do a lot of that in the ADHD Warrior Mama program. Another nice preventative thing that you can do to help keep your cool is meditating. So let me know if you meditate. Some of you mentioned it already. And starting your day with gratitude. A gratitude meditation is beautiful, or a loving kindness meditation. When you start your day with a loving kindness meditation, you're going into that vibration of love. And that's where you really want to parent from. So when you meditate, you can lay down with your hands on your belly, your hands on your heart, you can tap. And something I like to say, and you can say it with me: I am safe. I am okay. I am peaceful. I am kind. I am loving. I am loved. And then picture your child, and the Care Bears. So I always picture, how the Care Bears had like their little powers, those cute little pictures on their bellies, and they'd shoot the energy out. So I picture my heart, and I'm shooting the energy out of my heart just the way the Care Bears did. And I picture a color, and I picture it in detail. So sometimes it's like pink and fluffy like cotton candy, or sometimes it's like turquoise and swirly with sparkles. So I picture this energy coming from my heart and wrapping all around my child. So I picture this as I'm thinking about my child and saying, may you be safe. May you be okay. May you be peaceful. May you be kind. May you be loving. May you be loved. And then I send the loving kindness to the world, the whole world, and especially right now out in Europe. May we be safe. May we be okay. May we be peaceful. May we be kind. May we be loving. May we be loved. So we've talked about taming our triggers, recognizing them, being mindful of them, incorporating into our daily practice gratitude, touch, mindful breathing, self-care, meditation. And if you see a child differently, you see a different child. So that's from Stuart Shanker. So when your child is giving you a hard time, flip it. Instead of my child is giving me a hard time, my child is having a hard time. And just flipping that perspective can help you have more compassion for your child. Rather than thinking of whatever it is that they're doing as misbehavior, think of their behavior as communication. Rather than getting furious and triggered and reacting, get curious and respond. So just some of those ways of changing your perspective can help you have some more compassion and come at it from a different angle. So pretend you're like a detective and really get curious. How many of you have siblings that fight? I know when my son would hit his brother, that was a big trigger for me, and I felt like I needed to protect him, and I'd get angry. But what if, instead of me getting furious when that happens, what if I got curious instead? And I asked myself, what is this behavior communicating to me? Maybe my son is lonely and he desperately wants attention from his brother. Maybe nobody played with him at school today, or they teased him at recess, and he desperately wants to connect with another child. So consequencing for his behavior is not going to fix it. And it's only going to make that child feel more disconnected. So getting curious, Remember the acronym HALT, HALT. Is my child hungry? Are they angry? Are they lonely? Are they tired? So when you see those behaviors, get curious. Think about the acronym HALT is one of those things contributing to the behavior. In the summit, in my first interview, I think it's called Everything You Need to Know About ADHD. I talked about some of the brain differences, and just being aware of how the ADHD brain is different also allows you to be a little more compassionate. So understanding that there is a glitchy switch in the brain. So with a neurotypical brain, when you are in task positive mode, your DMN is off. So the DMN is what allows you to kind of like daydream. DMN is also where like negative self-talk happens. But in a ADHD brain, both of those systems are on at the same time. So imagine you're trying to focus on a task and you have that switch on your brain turned to on for focusing, but at the same time, there's another part in your brain that's firing that is telling you to daydream, and it's also giving you all this negative self-talk. That's a lot for a brain to deal with, especially a child's brain that's not fully developed. Also throughout the summit, you would have heard that there is an imbalance of dopamine and adrenaline in the ADHD brain. And dopamine and adrenaline is really important for the prefrontal cortex. It's like the gas that fuels the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is where the executive functioning skills take place: decision making, problem solving, conflict resolution, perspective taking, impulse control. So if we're not getting that adrenaline and dopamine firing up to the prefrontal cortex, how can we expect those executive functionings to be taking place? So just keeping those things in mind helps you to have compassion for your kids when they are acting out, misbehaving. So much of our attention goes to the things that we don't want. And that's something else that we talked about throughout the summit and throughout the lives during the summit. So we don't want all these things that trigger us. We don't want the fighting, the talking back, the disrespect, the not doing homework, the being late, the impulsiveness. If we let all of our focus go there to those things, our energy is going to flow there. So we're setting our reticular activating system to notice every time our child fights, every time our child talks back. So we're priming our brain to notice those things, and our brain's just going to try to prove that thought true. So if I think my child never listens to me, if I have that thought, my brain's going to try to prove that thought true and constantly look for proof to prove it true. Our thoughts are powerful. 95% of our thoughts are automatic. 95% are automatic. That means they're happening without our conscious awareness. And we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day or more. And 90% of our thoughts are negative. So Sarah Nicorek talked about this in her interview. Ants, the automatic negative thoughts. So it's our brain's way of keeping us safe by having these negative automatic thoughts. We do know that our thoughts are not true. They're just sentences in our brain, and we can choose whether to believe our thoughts or not. So here's an example. I woke up early one morning, and the first thought that jumped into my head is, I'm not doing enough for my oldest son. My youngest is in this lovely ADHD program. My oldest is not. Therefore, I'm failing him in some way. So I examined the thought and I said, well, thank you for trying to keep me safe, brain, but I've got this. I am doing a kick-ass job with my kids. And yes, I am imperfectly human. And yes, I've made mistakes, but I've created the ADHD village, which, by the way, the ADHD village supports me and my family too. So thank you for being a part of the village. And this village wraps support around my family with ADHD and your family with ADHD. So I don't believe the thought that I'm not doing enough. I am doing enough. I also know that feeling enough is a core need. So at our basic core, we want to feel like we are enough. We want to feel loved. And we want, oh my goodness, what's the other one? Why can't I remember? You want to feel loved. You want to feel that you are enough, and you want to feel safe. Those are the three like basic core needs. So I also know that we are often trying so hard not to fail. So much of our energy is focused on not failing. And when you focus on not failing, that's like setting your reticular activating system to failing, failing, failing. So I could have believed that thought, that first thought that jumped into my head first thing in the morning, that I'm not doing enough. And you can see where that would spiral. My brain would go to work looking for evidence to prove that thought true, that I'm failing my son. I might start listing off all the mistakes I'm making. And then I'd start worrying, like all the what ifs. What if this happens because I didn't do this, and all, all the things where your brain goes. So imagine if that's how I started my day, with all those negative thoughts. If I had stayed in those negative thoughts of I'm not doing enough, I would have felt guilty, ashamed, worthless, disappointed. And with those feelings, how would I show up as a mom? My cup would be empty. I wouldn't have any positivity or strength to give. I might snap at my family, maybe yell at them. Okay. So I maybe I'll start warning my son that you better behave at school today and not get into trouble, rather than giving him some sort of, proactive pep talk. So the consequence would be that I'm having like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm thinking that I'm not doing enough, and then really I'm not doing enough because anyway, it's like a cycle. So, but by refuting that thought and listing all the fabulous things that I am doing and resetting my reticular activating system, I was able to feel empowered and confident and proud. And my brain was then primed to start looking for evidence of all the great things that I am doing and all the reasons why my kids are doing amazing. And I am a great mom. And from that place, I can show up like the mom that I want to be, calm and cool and confident and connected with my kids. And then you can see how that's going to lead to actions of like hugging and kissing my kids and giving them pep talks and smiles and talking in a nice tone of voice. And then I am being the mom that I want to be. I am being enough. So let's play with the power of your thoughts, and let's do a visualization. I just need to take a drink of water. Okay, so get comfy in your chair and make sure your feet are nicely firmly planted on the floor. Feel yourself connected to the ground and connected to the chair. Feel supported. Let's play with our thinking. If you want to, you can close your eyes for this. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a long sigh out through your mouth. Let's do one more. So I want you to imagine that you're in a hallway and you see a door on your left and a door on your right. And you're wondering which room you should enter. As you approach the door on the left, you sense a wave of tension wash over you. Your shoulders rise up, your muscles tightened. You can feel a fluttering in your chest, a squeezing in your stomach. You can hear voices, familiar voices arguing, "He did this, she did that, Mom!" You listen to the accusations and the yelling, and you hear your own voice yelling. You know what is happening. You have lived this before. It's familiar and it's comfortable. You look around the room and you notice what is happening. So what is happening? Just picture it. Picture it in your mind. And you know what it is. This is your family. What is your family doing? What is the body language saying? What words are they saying? What are you saying? These are the people you love. You look at each of their faces and you love each one. This is familiar. You have been through it before and you know how it's going to end. The chaos will come. There will be triggers. It may be that your kids are just not listening, or they're melting down over the littlest thing, name calling, not putting any effort into their homework, making a big mess that you know you have to tidy up because they're not going to do it. Maybe they're talking back, they're being disrespectful, arguing. What is it that's triggering you? You are the one who has to handle all the emotions in the room. And you can feel yourself getting triggered, feeling overwhelmed, feeling disappointed, disrespected, judged. You have no idea how in this moment you are going to keep your cool. And you lose it. The same pattern happens, the old familiar pattern. You lose it. You yell, there's fighting, and then you feel defeated and invisible. And even though you are in the room with your family and all the chaos, you feel alone. Curiosity peaks, so you decide to leave this room. You walk out into the hall and close the door behind you. You go to the door on the right. You put your hand on the doorknob and lean your head on the door and you listen. It's quiet. It's calm. And you think you hear giggling. You open the door and step inside. Instantly, you can feel the tension leave your body. You feel your shoulders relax. You feel lighter, relieved. And as you look around the room at your family, you feel safe, happy, calm. You feel grateful. You can feel a smile forming on your lips. Let yourself feel the smile. Let yourself feel light. You take a deep breath. And you notice that it's easy to breathe. It feels easier to breathe in this room. What do you see? What is your family doing? Are they playing? Are they talking? What do you hear? Maybe soft music playing in the background, laughing, talking. What are your kids doing? Reading a book? Playing a game? What's your partner doing? What are you doing? What are the words your family's saying? You begin to talk about a family trip that you are planning, one that you weren't able to go on before because there was too many obstacles. Your family's cooperating. They're speaking kindly. You feel calm and confident because you know in this room, you have the tools and the strategies to handle the escalations. You have the tools to cool yourself down and your whole family down. When escalations start, everyone is able to manage. There are kind words. There's calm discussions. Feelings are communicated in a rational way. You feel connected. You're a team. You're cooperating, getting along, playing nicely. You actually have time for yourself, time for your relationship, time for you to do things for you and have fun. Because everything you need is in this room, everything to keep your cool when the triggers happen. You notice that you get curious instead of furious. And because you keep your cool, the whole thing diffuses. This room almost feels magical. Your heart is full of compassion. Sit with yourself. Notice how you feel. What does it feel like in your body? You wonder if this is too good to be true. So you decide to take another peek in the room on the left. You go back into the hallway. You can still hear the sounds from the room on the left, and you look around at the chaos and you feel yourself tensing up. This is familiar to you. This is what your brain is used to. And you always have this room available to you. But once you've peeked into what's possible in the room on the right, you don't want to go back to this room on the left anymore. So you go back to the room on the right. And this room, you feel calm, confident, connected, hopeful, a hope for the future that you didn't feel before. You know that in this room, you are fully supported. You notice that there is a door at the back of the room. There's white light coming around the door. You can take this door to join me back here in the present. So walk towards that door, open it up, walk out of the room and back into your chair. Take a minute just to recenter yourself. Give your hands a shake. Take a deep breath. Notice how you feel. Doesn't that sound like a more enjoyable family experience? Tell me in the comments, how do you feel after experiencing that room on the right? I'd love to know how you feel after that. In the room on the right, you have the tools and the strategies. You are calm and collected. You feel like a team again. You have your confidence back. Ara Kelly said you feel relaxed. In this room, there is hope. I'm just going to open up the chat. So the choice is yours. You can go back to the room on the left if you're not ready. If that is your choice, then I hope you have found value in this masterclass and in this summit, and you will absolutely have free support in the ADHD Village. But if you're ready to be brave and try something new, then pick the room on the right. And that's how you become a confident warrior, by coming into the room on the right. Tracy, you said the room on the right makes you feel like the mom that your kids need you to be. Yes. I'm just going to see if there's anyone on Facebook commenting. Terry, you said you feel hopeful. Jocelyn, you feel chill, relaxed, happy, confident. Karen, you feel calm and quiet. Ashley, not frazzled. Oh, Karen, yes, they're using inside voices. Yeah, Debbie, you feel happy. Yeah. So it's your choice, the room on the left or the room on the right. By being brave again and again, compounded courage makes you confident. And if you're not sure, remind yourself there's no courage without fear. It's okay to feel unsure. So be brave. Join me in the room on the right. Try something new, try something different. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the ADHD Warrior Program. Just type a yes in the comments if you're okay with that. I'll just spend a couple of minutes and then we'll wrap things up. So yes, thank you. So this program launched in December, and I had been working on developing it for about 6 months. And really, it was in the making from the time I started teaching 21 years ago, collecting all my my strategies along the way and my experience in special education and outdoor environmental science. And then, my 14 years nearly of parenting. So in this program, you get the benefit of all my learned experience so that you don't have to fumble through all those things for all those years on your own. This will make your transformation faster and easier and more fun than doing it on your own. So you certainly can do these things on your own. There's lots of free resources out there. There's support in the ADHD Village, but being in a supportive coaching program helps you get your results faster and easier, and honestly, with way more fun. After just 1 month in the ADHD Warrior program, the moms in the group were noticing shifts in their family. They were noticing that they were calmer, that they were less reactive. And one of the moms shared that her son said to her, "Mom, this program that you're doing is really helping." Her son, her 8-year-old son, noticed that there was a change in her energy. So after just 1 month, these moms are experiencing a change in their energy that's impacting their families. Becky's an ADHD warrior mama, and she's on the call right now, and she asked me to share some words with you. So I'm just going to read what Becky wrote. She said, and thank you, Becky, so much for these kind words. Becky said, "Having Laura as a coach has helped my life. She has helped me change my way of thinking, to really look into myself to see why I had that thought in the beginning. She's helped me through my thoughts, and it's changing slowly." Yes, because it does take time to change and rewire your brain. I find I have way more patience for my kids. I feel we are becoming closer as a family. And that's all because of Laura giving me the tools and the support to change. Thank you, Laura. And Becky, thank you so much for those kind words. You're feeling closer as a family, and you've been an ADHD warrior mama for just over 3 months now. So congratulations, Becky, on that transformation after only 3 months. And you're right, it does take time. And that's why the program is 1 year, because I want to give you that support over a year, because rewiring your brain doesn't happen overnight. It does take time, but the moms in the program were noticing changes already after 1 month in the program. In this program, there's lots of support, there's education, there's coaching, and you can see the quality and the value that I give for free. So you've been a part of this 8-day summit for free. I mean, you do have the option to upgrade to VIP if you want more, but there is the option to have it for free. This masterclass is free. If you've done my challenges in the past, those are free. The ADHD Village is free. YouTube channel is free. So you can see the value that I'm giving for free. So imagine the quality of the program that's paid. And that's because I'm so passionate about helping families, because I get it. I get it. I've lived it. I'm living it every day with my 2 ADHD kids and my ADHD brain. And I live it at school with my students. So I'm in it. I get it. And that's why I'm so passionate. I'm so passionate about this Warrior Mama program because I really struggled when my kids were younger. I can remember my husband had left early in the morning for work, and my kids were doing their things. Then I was triggered, and I was at the point where I felt like I couldn't function. And I remember sitting on my living room floor crying, and I called my dad and I said, "Where are you?" And he said, "I'm on my way to work." I said, "No, you can't go to work. You have to come here right now because I can't. I need help." And I was a special education teacher, so I had a ton of tools and resources from my special education training. And I had support from pediatricians, psychologists, psychiatrists, behavior therapists. I don't want to forget anyone, chiropractors, osteopaths, naturopaths, speech therapists. I reached out to everybody, and I had all the supports in place for my kids, and I was still feeling like I was drowning in overwhelm. What made the biggest change for me was working with my coach. And so what I learned by working with my coach is what I've put into the program, because after I started working with my coach, I could feel myself transform. I changed. And when I changed, there was a ripple effect out into my family. And my kids, their relationship with each other improved. Like, amazing. My relationship with my husband, my relationship with the kids, like the whole family dynamic changed when I started working with my coach and working just on myself. I wasn't working on my kids, I was working on me. And that ripple effect impacted the whole family. So once that happened, I got so excited, right? My ADHD brain was like hyper focused and super excited about this new thing that I found. And I thought, like, I have to share this with other moms and other dads and other teachers. Like, I can't keep this to myself. I have to find a way to share. So I became a life coach and I opened the ADHD Village and started doing summits, because I want to help as many families as possible so that we can make life easier for kids with ADHD. Yeah. So I'm super passionate about the ADHD Warrior Mama program, because all that good stuff is in the program. If you're interested in this program, if you're even just slightly interested in the program, type a yes in the comments just so I have a gauge. And if you're even just slightly curious about the program, I would invite you to book a call with me so we can talk about it. Because I screen the people before they come in. So it's not like just everybody can come into the program. I want to make sure that you're a right match, a right fit, that the whole group is a good fit together. And I also don't want the group to be too big. So I do cap the size of the group, so that you get the individual attention that you deserve and that I want you to have. So yeah, so if you are interested, book a call with me, and I'll put the link in the comments, both in Zoom and in Facebook, but after I stop talking, because I can't do that at the same time. Yeah, so book a call with me. We'll talk about it. We'll see if, I can answer your questions about the program. We'll see if you're a good fit. Yeah, and you're going to want to do that as soon as possible, because I do keep the group size small so that everybody gets the attention they need. For the month of April, my group right now, so we have our group coaching calls, but as things come up in the group, I seek other experts to bring in. So right now, for example, a hot topic in our group is executive functioning. So we've got Sean McCormick joining us in April to answer specific questions about executive functioning that we have. Something else that's come up is sensory processing. So I have an expert coming in who will help us with sensory processing. I've had Sarah Nicorak join. I've had anxiety experts join the group. So depending on what the group's needs are, that's who I bring in for extra support. So if you're ready and you'd like to join me in the room on the right, book your call with me. You're going to be surrounded by other warrior parents just like you. Yeah, and it is super exciting. I'm so excited about this program, and I'd love to talk more about it with you. So that's enough about the program. At the beginning of our class, we set our intentions, and we put the plan in place. We opened our reticular activating system for learning, and we decided that we would learn at least 3 things, and we'd have 1 actionable step at the end of this class. So I'd love for you just to take a couple of minutes to share. So you can type them in the comments. What are 3 things that you've learned? And if you're watching on Facebook and you type this in the comments, it's really helpful for others who go back to watch it later. I really, really find that when you share this type of like recapping and like what you're learning, it reinforces the learning for other people. Maybe you had an idea that they didn't think of, so that will spark the ideas for them. Or maybe they had that same idea and it helped. The repetition really, really helps. So I do invite you to share the 3 things that you've learned, and what is your next step going to be? What's your actionable step? And I'm hoping it is booking a call with me, but maybe it's something else. Maybe you're going to introduce practicing gratitude with your child, Or maybe you'll start doing deep breathing exercises with your child, or starting your day with loving kindness meditation. Maybe you would like to start journaling about your triggers so you can understand why those things trigger you. I'm just going to take a minute to read some of your comments, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me for this Keep Cool Masterclass. And I definitely am looking forward to connecting with you all in the ADHD village. I know there's been a lot of activity in there lately, and with the summit, I've been much busier than I normally am. So I haven't been able to respond to everybody yet. If you have something specific for me and you've sent me an email or a message and I haven't responded to you within 24 hours, just send it out to me again, just in case it got missed. My brain does have ADHD, so it's very possible that I could miss things. Okay, let me open up the chat and see what you're saying. I get very excited about the learning part too, because I'm a teacher. Okay. I plan to start gratitude and meditation with my child, Maisha. That's so nice. Tracy, I can change my feelings by changing my thoughts. That is so powerful when you understand that it's your thoughts that create your feelings. And the idea isn't to change those feelings right away. Not like, oh, I'm feeling sad. I don't want to be sad. I want to be happy. So let me change my thoughts. Like, feel the feelings first, process the feelings, and then understand that your thoughts can create different feelings. Faith, halt to something you learned. The highest energy wins, and tapping. Yes. If you are interested in tapping, Andrea Baker does a little bit of tapping in her interview. Now she uses the emotional freedom technique, which is like the traditional tapping technique. I use RRT, rapid relief technique, which was created by Sarah Longoria. If you were part of my first summit, Sarah Nicorak does the RRT tapping in her interview from the first summit. Actionable step for faith is working on your triggers. Yes. Jenny, definitely reading others' comments helps. I totally agree. I started breathing again last month. A lot has been reinforced. Yes. Marty, you're going to use love. Yes. Listen deeply. Think about how to connect to release that oxytocin, validate feelings, and emotional intelligence. This iPhone user says gratitude and learning my triggers. Thank you so much. Tracy, you're going to incorporate gratitude. Ara Kelly, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Ara Kelly, the love technique, setting intention before an event. And you can even set your intentions for like in the morning for the day. And Alan P. Brown in his interview, I love what he says. He says, what is the win that I want to celebrate at the end of the day today? And that's how he sets his intention. I love that. Get curious about your emotions, and your action step is to practice gratitude and deep breathing before bed with your boys. Maisha, you like the love technique. Yeah. Debbie, thinking about what I'm grateful for before bed. I love falling asleep with gratitude. Deep breathing, getting curious, and doing those things with your son. Yeah, it's so nice if you can do these things with your kids, but if they're not ready yet, doing it for yourself first is great. And once you're into the habit of doing it and you're benefiting, then you can get your kids involved. Tapping is fantastic, Jenny said. Tanya, trigger awareness, mindful breathing, and the love acronym. And you're going to work on your triggers. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to quickly check Facebook and see. Oops. Sherry, remember my children aren't giving me a hard time. They are having a hard time. Yes. Karen, you like the love method. Listen, oxytocin, validate, and emotions. Jocelyn, I'm full of love and will reset myself to deep breathe. Take a minute and slow down. Hug my son. Yes. Honestly, I read somewhere that you want to make sure that you have like physical touch contact with your kids at least 3 times a day. So I really make that effort. And it's easy first thing in the morning when you're waking them up, rub their backs or whatever. That's your one touch for the day. Um, Jocelyn, you said you're going to listen and connect with him. Karen, I can set my reticular activating system to search for positive change. Yes, and that's so powerful. Breathing and imagining the room and the triggered feelings help. Stephanie, knowing my triggers and halt. Ooh, there's so much learning today. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for spending this time with me. Pamela, you said the only dangerous emotion is a suppressed emotion. Yay, you guys are learning so much. This is exciting. Okay, so here's what's going on in the village for the next little while. This weekend is a 48-hour replay. And I know there were some technology issues, which, yeah. So I've asked my tech VA, she has set up the videos instead of releasing them at midnight on Saturday, like Saturday, 12 a.m. is when they were supposed to be released, and then you'd have them for 48 hours. I asked her to release them Friday evening. So that will give you an extra few hours. So it's not just 48 hours. It will be more like, I don't know, 53 hours or something, just to kind of make up for some of that. Some of you had some lost time with email glitches. So anyway, so that's this weekend, the replay period, the encore period. It's a great time to still invite friends, family, teachers, coaches to join the summit because they can watch all the videos this weekend. You can have a power watching weekend. Or if you can't watch, if you can't watch all the videos, don't watch them all. Pick the ones that are of the most interest to you and click on all of them so that you can download the free gifts. You want to get your hands on all those free gifts. So that's this weekend. And then on Tuesday, April the 5th, Sean McCormick will be starting his first Techie Tuesday, which will run for 4 weeks. Every Tuesday, he'll be popping in live in Facebook and sharing some tech strategies. So he's going to be talking about tasks this Tuesday. And then the end of April 25th, I'll be running a 5-day challenge, and that's for free too. It's how to not lose your cool, especially when your kids do. So some of the stuff we've touched on during this masterclass, but we'll go into it in much more depth in the 5-day challenge. I'll also be in the next week or so connecting with you on these calls, which I will share the link again in these comments and on Facebook. Faith just said, I currently work with Sandra Broadkin. I love Sandra. And you've made lots of progress. Yes, working with a coach really helps you speed up that progress, right? Thank you so much for all the work that you have put into this summit. I also have the VIP pass. Thank you, Faith, and congratulations on becoming a VIP. You are doing such a great job. Your work will help me be a better teacher, but now I do have a resource to recommend to parents. Oh, thank you so much. And I really, really do appreciate the referrals. And sorry, Faith, I just saw that says direct message and not to the whole group. Sorry for reading that out. I hope that's okay. Sorry, I hope that's okay. Not a problem. Thank you. Okay. So sending you all lots and lots of love. I will see you in the village. I'm hoping to see some of you on the calls to talk about the Warrior Program. And I will put that in the chat now. So there, it's in the Zoom chat and Facebook. Oh, let's see if I can figure out Facebook too. Look at me going with all these different screens and devices and the technology I'm learning. No, I can't do the Facebook one right now. I'll do it as soon as I end the live. Oh, wait, maybe I can. No, maybe I can't. Anyway, we'll just leave it there. Sending you all lots and lots of love. If you are in my part of the world, have a great sleep. It's nearly bedtime. It's 9 o'clock. For those of you in Australia and New Zealand, have a beautiful day. And I will see you in the village. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And look at you, like you've just dedicated 2 hours to this masterclass. So congratulations, you are doing amazing. Have a good night. or day. Bye.